What's up, Ego Hackers? Welcome to the C.S. Joseph podcast. And today's question is, how can I stop my extrovert intuition hero from harming my introverted sensing attention span? This is one of those ADD, ADHD questions for those ENP starter types out there who often get labeled ADD or ADHD and maybe forced to be put on Ritalin or whatever to just calm them down. Or maybe it's because, hey, I'm a starter type and I'm having a hard time focusing because I think that by focusing, I'm actually going to get anything finished. Nope. That's actually a myth. That is a myth. Just because losing focus or having focus does not guarantee that you are actually going to get anything done. It does not guarantee productivity. Especially, with you being an ENTP, you have the deadly sin of sloth attached to your superego, so that's your secondary set of deadly sins, which ends up being a huge problem. So you can be kind of slothful at times, and it's usually just out of boredom, or you're just not in the mood, or you're just exhausted. Who knows, right? For example, I'm being slothful right now. I'm just sitting here on this stump instead of actually walking the trail like I should be while filming, but I just wanted to take a rest because I'm feeling slothful right now. Totally not in the mood to do any more walking, even though I have a few more miles of this hike left. It's gonna be great, but taking a break. But the point is that you gotta understand that your attention span, as much as you try to focus it or concentrate, you're not really going to get there. And what you're really using is actually your anti-nemesis. If you use your anti-nemesis to focus on something, you're only really doing it in an attempt to finish a task or finish what you're doing, etc. But that's not always actually going to help you. You know what I mean? It's not always, it's not a guaranteed solution. It's not always going to be what it is. You see what I'm saying, folks? You got to watch out for that. So how do you watch out for that? Well, the thing is that I oftentimes in my coaching practice have to deal with questions similar to this for ENP clients that I have. You can find out more about that at csjoseph.life/coaching. Maybe you want to get typed, or maybe you want some life advice or some relationship advice. Who knows? We do all that. But the reality of the situation is that don't concentrate so much. Don't actually focus. You're actually being contrary to your nature. And I always end up advising these people look, yes, I get that your extrovert intuition is literally chaos incarnate. It is everywhere. You're doing multiple things at multiple times, but that's honestly what you need to do. You need to stay doing multiple things at multiple times. Extrovert intuition heroes are the absolute best at multitasking. Most people claim that multitasking is unwise or a very bad decision for people, throughout their life, but I completely disagree. NE heroes, you should be multitasking constantly. Usually I don't take action until I've overburdened my introverted sensing inferior with so much stuff to do that it's completely overwhelming. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh crap, the entire world and my entire life will fall apart unless I do something now. And then I just start working on the list, and it creates this insane flow state because I've overburdened my introverted sensing inferior with so many things to do across so many different tasks, so many different niches, so many different subjects or categories. Like today, for example, I got to go to the post office, even though I'm filming. I have so much stuff I have to do on my list, and I have to keep track of all of it on a mind map. And then if, for example, there's if I have multiple projects, I got to keep track of where I left off in each one of those projects. But because I have introverted sensing inferior, I can remember where I left off, which is super important, right? So all you have to do is just keep track of it. If you're if you're an ENFP, I recommend using a program called Evernote to keep track of all of your lists and things and everything you're doing, so you can just leave off project by project or task by task. If you are an ENTP, I recommend getting mind mapping software. You can get it at whimsical.com or MindNode if you're a Mac user. I love MindNode. I'm using MindNode literally this second. It's running in the background other than this camera app. And it's actually how I keep track of all my tasks during the day. Mind maps are for TI users. Lists are more for TE users. But the difference is that, eventually even your introverted sensing inferior will become overwhelmed trying to keep track of all the different tasks and different things. But sometimes you can't really allow yourself to concentrate or focus. Now, but that's not necessarily true, because sometimes something becomes such a high priority, or it becomes so emergent that you have to get it done right away. At that point, really all you can do, you can force concentration, you can force focus with your NI nemesis. Concentration is more introverted sensing inferior, but focus, so you can concentrate on multiple things. That's SINE. But in order for you to really focus to get something finished, because you're a starter type, you really just have to get away from every person and every possible distraction. Lock yourself away in a room where there's no television, no radio, no nothing. Maybe you could put on some music and then just focus on that one thing to get it done. But it will take all of your energy. Had a spider on me. It'll take all of your energy to do that. And you'll burn out through your mental energy super quick. And then eventually you'll just get either bored or just burnt out. And then boom, you'll go into sloth mode if you're an ENTP. Just be like, oh, wow, and that could be a problem. You don't want to have to deal with that issue. So make sure there's no distractions. Go ahead and get the very high top priority task done. But it is what it is. Just understand that you'll always have split attention in your life. I don't know how many times I've had STPs especially criticize me in my life for having split attention. And that sucked. That really, it wasn't helpful, it wasn't great, it wasn't fantastic. It just really, really sucked for me personally. And I wasn't really able to, they're telling me that I'm being, this person who is irresponsible or incapable of getting anything done. I've even had ENFJs and ENTJs in my face about it, calling into question my work ethic, when I'm actually outworking all of them, because I have so many irons in the fire simultaneously, and I'm handling all of those irons in the fire all at the same time. And a lot of people just, I have been heavily judged that way. It's harder for me, I think, as an ENTP, because I'm systematic. I'm standing there in the grocery aisle ready to stock some things, as a stalker, to stock some things on the shelf. And then my boss comes by and tells me that I have no work ethic, I'm lazy, I'm this or that. And I'm like, no, I'm actually thinking about what I'm going to do, because I'm going to have a really good outcome. If I just start working, it's going to look like crap. Do you want it to look like crap or not? Okay, so you're going to give me a few minutes here to think about it, because that's how you should be exerting proper leadership and management. But because you're ignorant of the fact that you have no idea that I'm an ENTP, and you literally think that everyone else is like your little ENFJ self, because you treat everybody like you treat you, which is dumb and unwise and not the golden rule. That's the opposite of the golden rule. Then, obviously they're not going to be happy, because they're going to have people not willing to work for them anymore, and that's going to suck for them too. So from my perspective, it's okay. You have to give yourself permission as an ENP. It's okay to be doing multiple things at the same time. You have to, because you're never going to actually stay motivated. I'm doing so many things all at once that it's just ridiculous. I'm right now, I'm doing paddle boarding, I'm shooting pool, smoking cigars with friends, going out with my friends at least once a week, sometimes twice a week. I'm doing Krav Maga, which I love so much. Obviously, I'm conducting business and running my businesses, while also, lifting at the gym, measuring my food, tracking my food, doing carb cycling at the same time. I'm doing so much all the time, and being a parent. I got 3 children and I'm a parent, so my life is busy, and I keep adding more and more and more. I have this huge list of things that I still want to do afterwards. I want to go trap shooting in the very near future, right? And of course, it's this hobby after hobby after hobby, or project after project after project, task after task after task, business after business after business. But if I don't do that, I won't be satisfied, right? If I don't do that, I won't, I'll be completely unproductive. So in order to stay focused in life, in order to stay concentrated in life, I have to overwhelm myself. And that's really the only way to motivate an ENP, is to, and actually for them to even have an attention span, is to give them so many different choices to spend their introverted sensing on. It's like NI inferior. They love them some choices. Well, guess what? SI inferior loves them some experiences. They love them some duties. They love them some burdens. And without enough burdens, they're not going to be motivated to do anything in life. They're not going to accomplish anything. It's really frustrating and really annoying, actually. Annoying to other people, that is. Not annoying to me. So yeah, just understand that, like, your any hero, yeah, it will destroy your attention span. But honestly, get over yourself. You have to learn to have a proper work ethic and just know when to say no to certain things, know how to prioritize certain things over others. Is easier for ENFPs to do than ENTPs, but you got to figure that out. You just have to. You got to let go of certain things. You got to keep certain things going at the same time, and then you yourself will be like, okay, I got lots of irons in the fire, keep them going. If you only have one iron in the fire, wow, like, you're not going to be motivated to do that one iron in the fire at all. So you basically have to run your mind like a triage. You have a bunch of patients. Each of those patients, some of them are critical condition, some of them are stable, some of them are, their injury is very low. You know, the critical patients are the higher priority. So you have these multiple irons in the fire, and each of them is like a patient. Handle the ones that are most critical, and then deal with the ones that are less critical. And just live your life that way, and just keep going and going and going, and just see this upward spiral of your life leading you to success. If you just focus on one thing, guess what, ENPs? You're going to burn out. And then all of a sudden, all those NFJs or those all those SE users in your life, especially STPs and ENJs, who judge you, they judge you for lacking work ethic or whatever, if they and getting any one thing done. But then all of a sudden, they force you to focus on that one thing, and then you don't even get it done. And they're basically setting you up for failure, setting up your INJ shadow for failure. Wow. Because they don't even understand you. Like, that's bullshit. You need to get in their face, show them this video, and make sure that they understand, like, this is who you are, this is how you operate. You have to be overwhelmed in order to stay productive. You have to have all the space and room to multitask. Because your attention span is either so small or so unbelievably huge that if you are not overwhelming yourself, you will never be successful. Just know that sometimes, even after you've overwhelmed yourself, you got to say no to certain things. And that's okay. I mean, recently I was looking at picking up karate. Then I'm like, no, that's kind of unwise. So I'm just going to focus all in on Krav Maga and just go all the way through with it indefinitely. It's a really good decision. Also allows me to recover better in terms of getting proper rest after working out, you know what I'm saying, and actually meet my fitness goals. So, but yeah, that's literally the answer. So, and I think I've answered it pretty well. So, all right, well, thanks for watching, folks, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.